your microgrid is not your battery plus your PV plus and or a generator. It's those things plus the user, right? Like the user, how they're going to use their system, it can really vary. And so some of these that we're doing feasibility studies for are they're going to be emergency shelters, and they've never hosted an emergency shelter event. They don't really know how they're going to use loads. That
Sure.
requires a little bit of imagination, as you can imagine. And also, how are loads going to grow? Are they going to electrify any appliances? Are they going to have electric vehicle chargers? And are they another aspect is, are they going to reinvest in the system? Are they going to add when the battery is towards the end of its lifetime, which will be before the solar? Are you reinvesting in battery capacity? So there's all sorts of So that's this huge field. We're looking through all this data, identifying these constraints. Then we move into the technical analysis proper. There's energy modeling, financial modeling, but we also, and this is one of the great things that we have the privilege to be able to do, is we have such great design engineering resource. We have a designer as part of that process. And actually one of the deliverables, usually, not always, but usually with our microgrid feasibilities, has been a preliminary design. And that's been really key, having multiple people with multiple perspectives in the room through the analysis, because there's just different sources of expertise that come to bear there,
Yeah.
different considerations.
I'll kind of pop in on that one too, because recently I was working with you, Zach, on a project, and the client came back with, this is what we want. And it was, a way that probably is, it's a method of wiring, I guess, the system up as a whole, just to kind of keep it brief, but that we'd rather avoid, quite honestly. But the client is, this is the reality of our situation. This is how our users, that was a great line that you said, microgrids include the users. And so this is how our users are going to be able to interact with this. And so this needs to be part of the microgrid. And so, okay, how can we figure out how to isolate loads properly? How can we manually control loads? And so I think that's a big part of it, making sure that those conversations are being integrated, and then involving the engineers and making sure that, is this even, are we going to triple the cost of this project because of this one component that, we have the special engineer for them. So I think that's a good, the thing you were saying about having all the voices in the room is an important part.
Absolutely. Yeah. So so that's really, it's a really iterative conversational kind of process internally. And then we get to the final two stages. And this is that conversational educational aspect of the feasibility study. The first thing we do is we tie all this up into a report, and this is a preliminary report phase. And we're documenting clearly, here's, what the site is. Here are the assumptions that we're making on the financial side, on the technical side. Here's how we performed our analysis. Here's how we built our synthetic load curves. Is the system architecture that we're suggesting, or maybe there's a few different varieties depending on the scope of the study. And then here are the important considerations. And we put all of this in the report, because then that's boiled down into a deliverable that we send out to the client. The decision-making process with end clients can really vary. Sometimes it's just one decision maker, but oftentimes there's a lot of people involved. And that report then needs to percolate through everybody involved in that executive decision-making process. They all have their imagination, their vision of what a microgrid is going to do for them. For a lot of folks, this is a really new thing. Especially for folks who are the clients, who are not in the industry, right? But it's new for all of us to varying degrees. And so that needs to happen. And sometimes people, they're pleasantly surprised by the study. They think, oh, this is going to give me exactly what I want. I see it, it's concrete. But oftentimes there's these little aspects that they hone in on. Oh, I didn't realize the equipment was going to go there. I didn't realize that, this was going to be, so difficult in terms of the resilience aspect during this time of the year. if we choose these loads. And so then we give them an opportunity to come back and say, here's what we like, here's what we don't like. And then we offer, okay, something you can do is reprioritize your load list. And then they get back to us, we wrap that into a final report and then deliver it. Even then, I would say the story is not really over. We've gotten a lot of the way through the woods, but there's the opportunity then after that final report is delivered that the client still has that deliverable and they can use that as the basis to make an informed decision, however they're going to proceed with the engineering of their studies. So